Okay, so in real time, you will have number of test cases, right? So for every file, you will have many test cases like this. Now when you go to test_demo1.py, you have some test cases here. So for all these test cases, let's say if you are working on Selenium Python framework, and for every test case you have to invoke browser. So there are some fixtures which may be common to every files, right? And you can keep on declaring them in which files you need, and then you will actually integrate that by passing that specific fixture, and you will keep on running these. So this is how generally people think of doing it, because opening browser is required for every test case. Now we are attaching to this test_first program, and when you run that you will see the same output. Okay, so do you think there is some duplicate here? You see that I will be executing first hello and last. Why are we duplicating our efforts by writing the same fixture code for every file? So instead, in Python Pytest framework, there is one file called Conftest. Okay, that file you have to specifically define with that name only. Conftest. This is the standard which you have to follow exactly to create that file. So in that file, if you declare your fixture, then that fixture will be available to all the test files present in that specific folder. Okay, when I say all the test files, all pytest test files. So how pytest test files are identified? When you write any file with the test_name, then at runtime it will treat that pytest test file. Okay, and when declaring method, make sure you put test keyword. Okay, now you can actually delete all the fixtures whatever you have written, and then you can actually call all them from this conftest file, and this is mandatory to have this file name like this. Import pytest. Right, so because this browser invoking part is common for all the test cases, right? If you have some 100 test cases, 100 test cases needs to invoke the browser, then there is no point in having this fixture connection to all the test cases whatever you define. So instead you can pass this in one file and then directly call into any file required without duplicating efforts. So I can call now here, and you can also call it here. Earlier we have that code in this place, right? Now I delete it, but still code will run, because whenever you run this test, first of all pytest will check this argument setup, and then it realize that this is some fixture, and it will check in its local file whether that setup fixture is present or not. If it is not present, then it will go to conftest file, and it will check whether conftest file is present. If it is present, then it will go to that file and it will check in this file as well. Yes, if it is found in that file, then it will execute. Simple. Similarly for this also. So I removed it from here. If I don't write it here, it will check first in the local file and then in the conftest file. As it is found there, it will tie up and run. So in this way, we can reduce the code and make it more optimized by placing your fixtures in conftest.py. So in what scenario you have to place it? You have to place them in Conftest only when you think that particular fixture is shared by multiple files. Okay, when you think that fixture is required by a number of files, then instead you can place it in one place here in conftest.py, and it will be automatically available to all the files. Now if you want to run this particular test, you can actually run from terminal, or it's up to you. That's why in some lectures I am showing terminal and some lectures I am showing from PyCharm. You see that I will be executing first, I will be executing last. So fixture got executed even after you remove it from here. So I hope now you understood the importance of Conftest. So let me write out notes whatever we discussed till now. Fixtures are used for setup and used as setup and tear down methods for test cases. Conftest file to generalize fixture. Oops. Fixture and make it available to all test cases. So this notes is very important because you might not remember everything what we discussed till now. As you are seeing it for first time, you have to revise again to remember all the concepts. Either if you take notes or if you have this document like this, you can quickly go through each and every point and understand whatever you learned till now instead of going back and seeing the video again. So that's the whole point for me to prepare these notes. Okay, next we know how to generalize, and now the problem is, let's say in fixture demo only I am creating multiple test cases. You know that one file can have multiple test cases like this. So demo 1, demo 2, demo 3. Yeah, there are different test cases like this. Okay, so if you have multiple test cases like this, today there are 4 here. Tomorrow you might have some 20 test cases here. So in every test case, we were passing our fixture name, setup. So if there are n number of test cases you write in this Pytest file, for every file we are passing this fixture, right? So can't we optimize this? Yes, we can. So if you wrap all these methods in class, then you can just declare this fixture on class level so that it will be automatically applied to each and every method of that class. Okay, in that way you can remove it from here. Let's see. So let me define class test example, something you can say. And for proper indentation you have to make sure they are properly aligned. Okay, sorry. So just follow me, you will understand what I'm trying to do here. Right, so if you wrap them under a class, now you can remove all these fixtures whatever you have defined, because I'm just going to directly declare them globally. So when you declare method in any class, the mandatory parameter is self. I hope you have gone through my Python basics lecture. In that I have clearly explained when I am creating classes. Let me show you that specific file. I hope you are aware, but yeah, here you see that when you declare a class, for each and every method we had make sure that self is the mandatory parameter to pass, and if you want to call any variables or anything, you can only call them with self dot. Okay, similarly, as we are wrapped under class, make sure you pass self as instance. Don't worry about fixture, I will bring that into picture now. Too many blank lines. Okay, let's remove one, and here also self. Okay, so instead of passing here, I can declare one annotation, pytest.mark use fixtures. So this is the annotation. In this, pass the fixture name. That's it. So when you give this, it will be automatically applied to all the methods present in your class. So you can get rid of passing this self. So when you run this test now, the fixture should apply pre-request and post-request, and it should run accordingly. Alright, let's see. Perfect. You see that for every test I will be executing first, I will be executing last, and next one I'll be executing first. Fixture demo 1 is printed, and for all that pre-request and post-request got printed. So in this way you can get rid of passing the fixture for every method if you wrap all your test cases under class. So this is a good standard of doing it, and when we are developing framework in our next sections, we will wrap all our test cases like this in class. And one more thing, so if you want to run your fixture only once before the class but not before each and every test case, there can be requirement, right? Like you just want to delete cache and you have to start executing all the test cases present in this class. So you want to run that prerequisite setup just before execution of any test case in the class, and once in the last, after all the test cases are executed, you want to run tear down, which is nothing but yield. This will run after all your test cases is executed. But the current configuration how we have defined is like it will run before every test. It's like before test annotation in test.ng. So if you want to make them run only once before the class and after all the test cases executed in the class, then you need to simply go to your fixture argument where you have created in your Conftest, and here say scope equals to class. That's it. So when you say like this, and when this fixture is being called here, it will read that scope and then understand that that fixture scope is in only class level. So I will only run once before the class is initialized and once after all test cases in that class being executed. Okay. So now when you run this test, you will see that only once I will be executing first, and at the last, after all your test cases are executed, you will see at the end saying I will execute last. Okay, so this is how you can tweak with your Pytest fixtures. If you are aware of JUnit or test.ng, this annotation is like before class when you put scope equals to class. So don't worry, practical usage of this I will show when we are designing Selenium framework. But understand the concept in this section. Using this concept, we will build the framework. Alright? We'll continue in our next lecture. Thank you.